Hello and welcome back to the Gaming Podcast Live. I am your host, Mia, and we're here every 2 weeks to talk gaming stories, news, gossip with your favorite content creators. Don't forget, you can keep up with all the latest news and features from Gaming Magazine by visiting us online at gamingmag.com. But I'm alone this time. I'm all alone. There's nobody here. Robin is gone, and I have to fend for myself. It's really unfortunate. A little bit different now. So instead of having Robin, who we will always miss, he's not dead. He's just doing other things that are more important than this, apparently. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to be joined each and every week, each and every episode by an awesome guest host. And this episode is the fantastic, I know her, I love her, it's the fantastic Nikatine!
Hi everyone,
Hello.
This is my show now. Hi! Just a quick
It's your
reminder
show
for those of you joining us live, you can interact with podcasts both here in Twitch chat and in a special dedicated section over at the Gaming Magazine Discord. I'm so happy to be here, Mia. I love you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this, because I was like,
well,
I need help.
Hard to disagree with a gun to your head, Mia.
I don't want to be alone. Do the podcast, do it now. Yeah, that's exactly.
God, if I have to.
Blink 3 times if you're here against your will. Yeah, I'm hoping this is fun for you.
I have the very special honor of introducing our special guest this week, one of Gaming Mag's Rising Star nominees, the wonderful Lucia Everblack.
Woo!
Oh, hi, everybody. It's me, Lucia.
Applause.
I am so thrilled to be here. It's awesome.
Applause. It's so great to have you.
How are we today, Lucia?
I am doing wonderfully. Thank you so much.
That's always awesome. I'm so glad to have one of the Rising Star nominees coming onto the podcast, for the Gaming Awards. That's going to be pretty soon, actually. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
now,
exciting.
We always kick off with the weekly recap, which includes all the games we've been playing recently. So I'm going to go ahead and kick that off. We actually had in the last 2 weeks since I've been on the podcast, we had the first 2 episodes of Let's Go Gaming, which is the other show on the Gaming Mag channel. If you're not already followed, by the way, hit that follow button. And I was hanging out with Psyche and Donut Art. We played some Mario Party Superstars. I won't spoil who won, but it was an amazing time. And also Luke Boogie. I was hanging out with Luke Boogie, and we did House of Ashes, which is a scary game where we were just hoping that the male characters would just start a makeout session, because some of the content in that game is... I don't know if you've played House of Ashes. Have you played House of Ashes, either of you?
No, I can't say I have.
No. It's one of the games in the Dark Pictures anthology, so it's the same devs who did Until Dawn, I believe. I'm not sure if you played any in that series, but yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. We might actually be continuing it over.
Take a lot of Adderall, Mia. I think if I played a scary game, I might actually die.
Do you play any scary games on your channel?
No, not unless my channel wants to see me cry, which is,
I thought that would be all the time. Like, don't viewers always want to watch?
Yeah, but like I ugly cry though. It's not like some people cry like cute. I ooze.
You ooze.
Yeah, I ooze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not as cute as one might think.
All right, Lucia, do you play a lot of scary games?
I'm afraid of scary things like skeletons and skulls and. I love scary stuff.
Listen, I don't want to alarm you, but. Yes, I can see them all in the background there. It's pretty well. For those of you who are listening to this on the audio version of the podcast, there is literally a skeleton and skulls in the background of Lucia's whole setup there.
And that's only a tenth of the collection too.
Oh my goodness, very witchy vibes I'm getting from.
It's only a tenth of my full power.
Exactly.
Pan the camera to reveal the full coven just sitting there chanting away. There we go. Could almost do it. Yeah. So So we did that. We did some scary stuff. That was fun. The next episode's actually going to be next Thursday. I'm going to be doing some Mario Kart with a couple of wonderful people, but more on that later. I read some manga recently. One called Boys Run the Riot, which I've only read the first volume, but it's fantastic. It's about a trans man who goes to is a Japanese high schooler, goes to a school, still like closeted and trying to deal with obviously those issues of being trans, and decides to start a brand with like this more of a delinquent student who kind of gets him more than anybody else. It's been really cool to read because it goes into a lot of like the background on what it's like to grow up in Japan in terms of like, I don't necessarily call them repressed, but they're very, very, they have a set way of doing things over there. So if you're, and they say this multiple times in the manga, if you are the nail that sticks out, you get hammered down. So that's been a lot of fun. I definitely like, if you're not into manga or anything weeby, like some of us, that's definitely one I would recommend if you're, into the LGBTQI plus, stuff. So, yeah. Do you read any manga? Either of you? Any Japanese stuff? Do you watch any anime?
I feel like you're trying to say something. Are you saying mango?
Manga.
Mango.
Magma? I have some volcanic rocks. Does that count?
Did I seriously invite two people onto the show that don't watch anime at all?
No, that's not.
No weebiness.
No. I've watched. I've seen My Neighbor Totoro. One time.
Yeah, Ghibli stuff is great.
Yeah, I know what Evangelion is. Come on.
Evangelion. Yeah.
Evangelion.
That's actually
get in the Evangelion. Suzuki or what? Or
listen, I don't even. I haven't seen it, but I think it's Shinji. So
Shinji.
Shinji. Yeah. I also went to see Spider-Man: No Way Home with the fam.
Oh, okay.
Which was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have fun watching it?
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything.
I think it was fun. I think it was fun for us. For people who grew up with like the Tobey Maguire movies. Like it was fun for nostalgia.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. I do think that film does not work if you've not seen any of the other Spider-Man movies.
There's no way. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Absolutely no way it would work.
I think you'd spend the whole time very confused.
Yes. Yeah. Just to be like, who is that? Who is this?
It was fun if you've seen the other ones, for sure.
Yeah. I really love it because I'm a massive, I'd say I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I don't read any comics or anything like that, but Spider-Man.
I was actually super into the comics when I was a kid.
Really?
I loved Spider-Man comics. It was my whole thing. And my favorite character is Venom.
Oh, what do you think of what do you think of the Venom movies?
Well, I like the Venom movies. I think they're appropriately trashy. For the characters. The character's kind of trashy, so they're trashy enough for me.
I mean,
they took a lot of liberties. They took so many liberties with the character, but I love it when places take risks. So I'm cool with it.
They kind of had to make it work because it kind of stemmed out of that like 90s extreme kind of culture comic book stuff, right? Is that correct? I think so.
Extreme.
Yeah, everything was. Back in the 90s where everybody had big muscles and
yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I know comic books. I've read a comic book.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Lucia, do you watch any superhero movies or anything like that?
I can't say
what
that I do.
What are your thoughts on the MCU? Break it down film by film.
I watch a lot of sci-fi shows like The Expanse. That's like where my passion really lies.
Have you seen the new Raised by Wolves?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen the first season of Raised by Wolves?
No, I haven't.
Oh, well, if you like The Expanse, you're probably going to love Raised by Wolves.
I'll have to check it out. I've also been Yellow Jackets was another show I picked up not too long ago and stuff like that. I really like too.
Yeah.
I feel so out of the loop. What is Raised by Wolves and why is it sci-fi?
There's no wolves in it. It's misleading.
Oh damn! I was almost sold for a second. Then, I love it.
It's set on the nearest inhabitable planet, and the Earth is ravaged by war. So they send these religious fundamentalists and these super atheists each send their own ark to a different planet, and they have a whole mystery to uncover. There's androids. It's amazing. And the first episode was directed by Ridley Scott, and the rest of the show is produced by Ridley Scott. So it feels very alien. It feels very Giger inspired, kind of like Alien.
You said Alien. You got me at Alien.
Yeah, awesome.
I do like Alien. That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I've been playing more Final Fantasy Endwalker. Still not at the end of that. I'm still walking.
You'll
there.
never get to the end of it because it's the Final Fantasy, but there's
I'm
million of
still
them.
walking to the end of that expansion. And also Lost Ark. I don't know if anybody here has played Lost Ark, but that game has been annoying the hell out of me. I literally sat in a queue today just to try and log in from about 3:00 this morning. It is now 9:00 at night, and I still hadn't gotten in, so I had to leave the queue and
Who
be like,
loses
no.
an Ark? Just putting that out there. Who
Well, I mean,
builds an Ark and then loses it?
Well, Indiana Jones, he tried to.
He didn't build the Ark. He's just looking for it.
He was looking for it. Yeah. So
they
there's,
knew where it was.
there's precedence for Arks being lost. There's a lot of Arks being lost apparently in media.
Oh shit, my Ark.
It's a good job Noah didn't lose his, otherwise we'd be screwed, right? So yeah, Lost Ark. It's a good game. It's fun, but the server issues have just been annoying me to no end. It's been absolutely.
I've been streaming a lot of ESO lately, Elder Scrolls Online, and telling people it's Lost Ark.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was actually just about to ask you what you've been up to.
I've been playing a lot of ESO.
Tell me on Elder Scrolls.
So like most people play Elder Scrolls, most people play ESO to play an MMO that's like a little more adult than WoW, than World of Warcraft. But I play ESO to role play.
I saw your character. You're a big old cat woman.
Big old boobied cat lady. I'm a cat. My name is Jellicles McSpellicles. I'm a LARPer. My dumb character got accidentally bitten by a werewolf, but she's in denial about it. I'm gonna get better. It's just a condition.
That's something.
I'm having an actual blast with ESO.
That's awesome. I know you were doing Monster Hunter recently as well.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise was fun too. That was
I've been enjoying that. So.
It was good. It was good up to as you beat it basically, right? You kill monsters. You're kind of like.
I feel like you get to a point where you get to like a kind of content wall where you're doing the same thing over and over again for not much returns.
It's pretty much any MMO at some level, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's every MMO.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lucia, what have you been up to recently?
I've kind of gotten back into some survival crafting. I've been playing a lot of Ark and 7 Days to Die with a bunch of my community members, which has been really fun. And now we're playing.
Which one is Ark? Sorry,
Ark is the one with the dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, I love
Ark. And it's heavily customizable. There's a lot of great mods, a lot of cute. I have so many dodos. I have Dodo 1, Dodo 2, Dodo 3. Like
I love that.
They're incredible.
That was my strat in Ark. I would just raise a bunch of attack dodos.
And lots of awus. Colloquial wolves, and they're amazing, and I love them, and they're all my best friends.
The first, I'm a role player on Twitch, and my first role play game was Ark, so I have like a big, deep love of Ark.
But the other thing I've been doing that's not really gaming is I've gotten back into music making and like Ableton, and so I've been making a lot of meme songs. And so like the most recent one I did do you know the YouTube video Ramen Joy? It's like this old lady. She like makes everything out of ramen, like pizza,
that sounds familiar.
And lasagna.
Yeah.
I made a remix of that entire video, and it's my most fire track to date. And I feel like I'm on a path to like stardom with it. Like
hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Does that content just go up on YouTube, or does it go up anywhere else?
At the moment, I just put it on SoundCloud, but I'm thinking about making music videos to go with it, and just, I don't know. Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Absolutely fantastic. All right, I guess it's time for a section we like to call Mere Bite-Sized News, which usually it's Robin saying that, but now that I'm saying it, it seems a little self-aggrandizing, almost, just a little bit.
You want me to say it? Now it's time for a section that we like to call Mia Bite-Sized News. All done.
All done. Yes. I might change the name of that. That is exactly what it sounds like. It's where we go over everything in gaming in the news recently. So first off, we have the news that Sadoko from the Japanese series Ringu, otherwise known as The Ring in the US, has been added to Dead by Daylight, which is pretty cool. Like in terms of, I'm not sure if you'll play Dead by Daylight, but in terms of the actual characters that they've added, all the licensed characters, Sadoko is one that I've personally wanted to see in there for a very long time. So it's Sadoko Rising is the name of the new chapter. She's going to be referred to as the Onryo. I'm assuming there's a lot of references to the actual original like books, the novels in the expansion, because they're going OG with it. They're going with the actual Ringu characters rather than using the American adaptation, which is fantastic to see. Absolutely fantastic to see. The survivor that's being added is Yoichi Asakawa, who is the son of Reiko Asakawa and Ryuji from the first film. There aren't any new maps, unfortunately, but it does place TVs all over the existing maps with that new mechanic. And I think you can like teleport between them as Sadoko if you're playing as her as well. Just literally just crawl out of the TV, like exactly like the film, which looks awesome from the trailer that I watched. But yeah, I'm really, really glad that she's added. In terms of representation of characters, she's, again, like someone that I've wanted for a while. Other ones up there is like Pennywise and stuff. Do you all play like DBD?
I've played a little bit, and I'm only good at it as a survivor because I'm good at running from all my problems. But I do really enjoy it because it's the right mix of scary, like because it's like it's jump scares a bit, but not like the bad kind of jump scares. And so I don't know, it's like just enough scary for me to play it, and I don't know, I enjoy it a lot.
I will get scared even watching people play that game. Like a lot of LGBTQIA plus content creators just play Dead by Daylight. It's like huge in our circles for some reason. And every time that I watch, whenever somebody gets like hit or caught, or if they're in a chase with the killer, like I will jump, and I'm not in any danger whatsoever, but I'm just experiencing it through them. I played it for a while and I kind of quit it because I was just running up against frustration, because there's like a challenge mode in that game where you have to do certain like challenges during the actual rounds, and if your teammates aren't with you on that, it's very impossible to get stuff done, especially when it's a battle pass like thing that you've paid for. So I got really frustrated and just quit the game. But yeah, then they added Resident Evil stuff, and I was like, oh, that might get me back in. And then now they've added Sadoko, and I'm like, all right. I think I've just re-downloaded it. I've not played it yet, but I've re-downloaded it. Nicotine, do you want to play Dead by Daylight with me sometime? I know what you're gonna say, but I'm gonna ask you
anyway. I take a lot of Adderall. I don't know if I mentioned that. And unless you want to see it's like a streamer die of a heart attack, like live on Twitch.
I mean, that's just good content
for content.
Yeah.
Sacrifice myself upon the altar of content any day, you know. But I will expect at least $1,000.
Oh, okay. Right.
Cover the ambulance fee.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. Oh, God. Yes, ambulances in the US. You don't have free
$1,000.
Rub it in our faces more. God.
We'll see if we can make that happen. $1,000 for Nicotine to play Dead by Daylight.
Done. Easy. I'm wiring it over now.
Okay. Fantastic. We'll get a fundraiser going. We'll get the Kickstarter. Oh my God, I don't want to use the terminology "kill nicotine." That's just horrifying. No, let's not say that. But yes, moving on. Nicotine. Is there any stuff that you've seen recently in the news?
Any stuff that I've seen in the news?
Yeah, recently. I've
seen a lot of things in the news.
I've seen a lot of things. Any gaming related content? No, that's okay. You know what? I like to avoid real world stuff, but we'll move on to the next story, which is The Sims 4. Apparently, the new expansion.
That's the thing I've seen. It was one of the things.
That's the thing you've seen in the news. But that's okay. The Sims 4 Wedding Stories expansion was banned. Well, it's a long story. It was not going to be coming out in Russia. It is now coming out in Russia. That's the long and short of it. Essentially, what happened is that EA preemptively cancelled the launch of the game, like the expansion, because it has specifically 2 LGBTQ plus characters and a whole story of that. Well, it's called Wedding Stories, so it's literally just these 2 these lesbian characters getting married as one of the stories. So I'm thinking that their thought was that they would run up against the laws in Russia, which just essentially, it doesn't outright ban LGBTQIA plus content, but it will slap that content with a mature rating to try and quote unquote protect people, which is yeah. So I think they preemptively were like
right now.
Yeah, I think the idea was that they didn't want to get the whole game like banned, which I know for a lot of people didn't really hold up because it already has a mature rating in Russia because of the content.
Which is absolutely wild to me, right? Like if any of you've ever played The Sims, it's like the most low effort, like cutesiest, like it's a dollhouse simulator,
Pretty much.
That'd be like putting a mature rating on like Barbie's first pony adventure or whatever the fuck, like
yeah, definitely, yeah. It is somewhat ridiculous,
bizarre.
But there's not a lot we can do about homophobic laws. It's and I could see where EA was coming from. But it's just weird considering there has been content in The Sims in the past which is LGBTQI in nature, and I definitely don't think it would be enough to get the game pulled by bringing it out. But obviously they thought they did. They have since reversed that decision. The fans all spoke up, and they are now releasing it in Russia. So hopefully that goes well. I feel like it's better to release something than nothing at all. Because if you hadn't released it, that'd be really, really bad for anybody who is LGBTQI plus in Russia, who happens to be a Sims fan. You're just like stopping them from being able to get content that they can relate to. Use those games as a form of escapism, which is so important. I mean, to me, it was like everything.
For my part, for this, as far as The Sims goes, The Sims was one of my very first like experiences with like experimenting with my gender. When I was a small kid, I was like, I don't know, I was probably like 10 when The Sims came out, and it was like a hugely formative, like personal experience for me to be able to create an avatar that was a woman, and like that was huge for kid me, And the thought that like they're gonna censor The Sims is just mind-bogglingly stupid to me.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, like again, any games that allow you to have that like character customization. For me, when I was young, like Mass Effect games and stuff, I would always play as Fenchep. Not just because it's got the better voice acting in general.
Look at a girl butt for the time I played.
Literally, that's the excuse, isn't it? I just like the way. I just admire the way she looks. I just want to play as a girl, so I get to stare at a girl all the time while I'm playing a game. That's it. Yeah.
I'm interested to see if we start seeing more situations like this starting to occur more and more
with
frequently.
VR. With VR specifically, I think it's going to happen. I think it's already happening. I think places like VR Chat and Neos or whatever are like wonderful tools that I think future kids are going to discover a lot about themselves based on being able to just choose what you look like. I think that's a fantastic tool, and I think it could be really therapeutic and like a really cool, enlightening way to like learn a little bit more about yourself. I'm very excited about the future of VR, specifically for that.
I remember reading an article specifically about like VR allowing specifically trans content creators to be themselves a lot more than any other experience in terms of like online at the moment, and it was very heartening to see, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds for that too.
Well, not to derail the entire conversation, Mia, what can you tell us about the Nintendo Direct February 2020 all new games announced?
Oh, I was going to mention that actually. It's funny that I was going to mention that. So the Direct happened, I believe it was earlier this week. I watched it. I reacted to it. I can't remember when it was. I think it may have been like last Saturday, maybe last Friday. I have no idea when it was. It came out at some point anyway. Maybe chat knows. But they announced a whole slew of brand new games, which we covered over at Gayming Mag. So you can go to the article, check all that out. But some of the highlights of the games there, I'll quickly go through the ones that I like to look at. They announced Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, apparently, which is like a Three Houses style Warriors game. Don't care about that at all. Apparently, people saw Fire Emblem, they got really hyped up, and then they saw it as a Warriors game, and they got very angry about it.
2 hopes. No, too few. Well, can we have 4 hopes? No, that seems too much.
Just the 3. Just
Little
the 3.
ambitious of you.
Three's the lucky number. But yeah, in terms of the games that on the list that they announced that are coming out that I'm looking forward to, Advance Wars 1+2. They're doing a remake of that. That is like my childhood. I played that on the Game Boy Advance so much. There's a new Mario Strikers, which is basically just a sequel to the Strikers game that was on GameCube, which looks amazing. I'm always good for like a fun party game. I don't like football. Like, I hate football. But if it's going to be like a party game, I'm all for it. Let's go.
Now, is this real football, or is this football that you don't touch with your hands, or like what is this?
It's football that makes sense, where you kick a ball around with your feet.
This is soccer.
Not hand egg. It's
soccer.
Football.
Soccer.
Football.
Gotcha.
It's called soccer.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of ports coming out for the Switch, as per usual. You got your Kingdom Hearts. You have Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, which looked absolutely awful when I was watching the Nintendo Direct, and it's the Wii version of the game.
It is absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's not the best game. It's not the best game, is it?
I'm looking at this list too, and I'm seeing No Man's Sky coming out.
Which I really surprising to me that.
How?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It probably runs on my gaming PC.
I don't know. I mean, the resolution did look a lot lower, and I don't know. Like, the Switch is a good system if you utilize it correctly. Like, a lot of the games can look good on there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look at any of the recent Pokemon games. That's not part of the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's amazing what they've been able to do with the system so far. But I think a lot of us are waiting for like a new Switch to come out, something a bit beefier, add 4K, add a better processor, just make it so that you can play decent games on the Switch. Not that there aren't decent games on the Switch, but like all the new releases coming to PC, it's kind of impossible for them to be released on Switch without being like hampered down in some way. It's the same issue that the Wii had at this point, where that was just like the least powerful system like for so long, but it was the most popular. It seems like the Switch is the new Wii in that sense. And funnily enough that I say that, they're bringing out a sequel to Wii Sports called Nintendo Switch Sports on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm absolutely lost my mind over it when I saw it. I was so excited to actually see it, and I'm really excited to actually jump in and play that. But did the two of you play any Nintendo games at all? Is that your scene?
Then you're saying Nintendo?
Nintendo. Yes, it's a Japanese company. It means the name means from heaven. But,
is it actually? Yeah. Is that really what it means?
I believe that's what it means. Yeah.
If I making that, you made that up.
No, I did not pull that out my butt.
That's making that up. There's no way that's true.
I know. That's what that means. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't.
So I have a friend who has a Switch, and whenever I go over to his place, like it's always usually for like a get together with friends, and we're always playing like Mario Kart or Mario Party. And I've learned my lesson more than enough times in Mario Party with like the stars they give at the very end. And yeah, the amount of times I've been in the lead and I've lost in Mario Party because the charity stars at the very last round is just frustrating.
They'll get you. I feel like in terms of Mario Party games, there's always something that if you're in the lead, it's going to screw you over. Same in Mario Kart as well,
I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Arceus. Is that how you say it?
Oh,
Pokemon Arceus.
Yes,
I've been culturally osmosing a lot of Pokemon Arceus in my household.
I've been playing that a lot in my spare time, actually. Like literally just lying in bed playing it. I don't think it's that like fun of a game to stream. I mean, I imagine it would be quite a chill experience, but the game's really boring, I guess. To me, at least. Like, and I just got really frustrated with it in terms of it's another Game Freak release that looks god awful. It just like I wish that they would hire devs who know how to make games look good on the Switch and just literally
system.
Yeah. I mean, at this point,
any other system.
At this point, I just want a Pokemon MMO. That's what I want. I want the Arceus is like really, really cool.
What's the cool Pokemon MMO coming out? The one where all the Pokemon have like AK-47s and.
Oh yeah!
Oh god, yeah! I saw the trailer for that.
Oh god, I want to play that so badly.
That looks interesting. That caused definitely a little bit of controversy when that was announced. But yeah,
I'm sure.
they have them in like sweatshops, and you can. They're basically like enslaved. It's it's a little bit yikes.
The
But
Pokemon universe is a dark universe. I feel like we've just accepted, we've taken it for granted how dark the Pokemon universe is. At 10 years old, you're forced out of your home to go live amongst these dangerous creatures and make them fight each other, sometimes to the death. Like it's horrifying. It's an actually horrifying experience. So I'm glad there's one game out there that's exploring that part of it a little bit.
Clarify that is not an official. That is not an official Pokemon game. It's an independent thing. Which is
there's no way official Pokemon would do anything that cool.
No. It comes more across of more of a what PETA would do with Pokemon than anything else like they have in the past. Moving on. Anyway, I have my very first ad read to read. I've been told to read an ad, which is absolutely fantastic. So it's not an external ad, it's actually an internal ad, but you know what, I'm just gonna read it. So did you know, Nicotine, have you heard about this? The pages of Gayming Magazine are coming to life this July in New York City.
Where they're coming to life? Like in what way?
Absolutely coming to life.
We have to banish them. Lucia, no, you have your you got like a stake and like a
I have a dagger in here. And
all right, well, we're good then. We're good.
You'll get your coven on it, but you don't have to because it's not like that. It's the convention. It's the live show. It's Gayming Live. You can join 6,000 of your fellow gamers at this unique convention that celebrates all things queer geekery, from streamers to indie games to AAAs to cosplay and even drag icons as well, making live appearances. There is something for everybody, so head on over to gayming.live to find out more and grab your tickets. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, just hop on over there and see that. We are, though, going to be moving on to your guest interview, Lucia. So
hi, everybody. I'm Nick. Oh, so never mind.
No. You're the guest host. It's a bit different.
I was trying to make it about me for a second.
Just a little bit different. I know this is the first for everybody. We'll get through it. It's time for your spotlight. So we're gonna get to know you a little bit more. A little birdie told me that you've been around content creation for a while. And I think you started streaming a little in 2019. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Yes. And we have the very first person you brought on your stream. No, it's not like that.
Oh God, no, not them.
What exactly drew you into streaming?
I think just the fact that you can connect with people on a different level, like it feels a little more personal than something like YouTube or any of the other platforms that people tend to put either live or pre-recorded content on.
Yeah, that's a fantastic answer.
Definitely. In terms of just Twitch in general, that interaction that's there is so much more meaningful than anything else.
I'm so glad we've gotten to ignore chat this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, we usually ignore chat during these podcasts. It's wonderful. Yeah, but this is a live podcast being recorded live, by the way. If you do want to come and just watch us at the time and, throw comments at the chat, you can come on down to Twitch.
Or money at us individually.
Yeah, that works too. You can come on down to twitch.tv/gaymingmag and join us here. If you are watching this on the YouTube side, there'll be a link in the description. And also, if you miss out on any of these in chat, make sure you head on over to the YouTube, which is also youtube.com/ I believe it's Gayming Mag. And you can watch all the other podcasts you've missed right there too. Yes, it's absolutely fantastic. Nicotine, do you have any questions for Lucia?
I have several in the script. Yeah. What do you feel attracts people to your content /stream ?
I think what attracts people is just that I have kind of a holistic approach to how I treat everybody. Like I tend to talk a lot about political issues and social issues, and not just from my own perspective. I like to kind of educate people about things like disability and plurality and just the whole wonderful broad, I'm going to use the word spectrum. Spectrum's not the right word here because it's more than just a spectrum, but the whole universe of people. And so I think that helps everyone feel really represented and empowered. And
can I just say really quickly that I think it's really important, and I think you're doing an excellent job, because I think one of the most important things for any queer content creator is really that sense of normalization. That being so public about things really helps normalize the bar, right? I think it's wonderful. So
thank you.
In terms of the content that you actually create, what kind of what kind of content do you think helps you do this the most in terms of interacting? Whether or not it's like just like chatting streams or games that you play, what is it that that you enjoy the most about?
So it's a mix of things. I think just chatting is like a really great way to create a space where people are able to like ask questions and also provide their own input. So I think that works the best in general for me. But also, like, I've been able to find games that I can provide social commentary with, whether it's like a horror game where somehow loosely we can bring up the struggle of the proletariat, and like we're playing, it's a creepy game, but we can tie it in there somehow.
Everything is trans in a long enough timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is it has some trans canon to it, right? And so,
if it's not, we'll make it trans.
Exactly.
That is actually like that's the fun thing though about like horror games, right? Horror in general has been a reflection of society at large and the things that we in terms of fear. Like for instance, in the 50s, there was a lot of like outsider terms, like invader kind of like horror stuff, sci-fi horror stuff, which perfectly makes sense. What kind of actual horror games have you enjoyed the most? Like what kind of stuff like has stuck out to you
for horror?
Yeah.
Oh, trash horror. Like I like games that I get for like $10 on Steam, like Fears to Fathom, where the first game you make lasagna, you eat lasagna, and then spoiler alerts, I'm sorry, you eat lasagna and then you die. Like that, like there's so much material to work with in that,
Spooky lasagna.
Exactly. You go to the fridge, you get some water out, you text your mom. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just love how like raw it is. Yes, I am a woman of culture, fine culture, and lasagna.
Yeah, I'm assuming that was social commentary on consumption and how consumption will eventually kill us all. So
it's about the evils of lasagna.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, do you play as Garfield in that game?
Yeah, I wish. I pretend that I'm Garfield.
What is your Garfield persona?
Well, it'd be more. My Garf Zone would be Gorefield. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we stop for a second there? What is a Garf?
You describe yourself as an oddities collector. Tell us more about that.
Okay. We'll talk off stream, Mia. Okay, I have a whole world to unload.
You fill me in on that, but before that, like I think we've seen some of your oddities. So, but in terms of like the background stuff that you've got all over on cam, you should be watching this live on screen, by the way, if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, because it's a very lovely setup that you've got over there with all the candles and
thank you
and all the witchy type stuff. But yeah, in terms of like an oddities collector, what does that mean?
So I like just collecting the strange and macabre, like skulls and things like you can find. And I feel like a lot of it's kind of becoming a little less weird. But then I have things like fetal pigs. I have
fetal pigs.
Delicious. Yeah, I have a jar with a frog in it. It's like you can't really see it, but it's like right there. That shiny little like cylinder has a huge toad in it.
You need to get some like backlighting so you can just have it.
Like, and then my favorite thing to collect is this. I hope it doesn't get chroma key. Okay, good. This is uranium glass, and this is a piece of Fenton glass from like the early 30s. And this actually, if you put a black light on it, it glows in the dark. And if the sun hits it long enough in the evening, it'll have a slight glow to it as well. It's awesome. Technically you can eat out of it or off of it, although the FDA actually says you probably shouldn't, but it's safe-ish, I think.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm also a collector, but not of necessarily oddities. That's so much more cooler than all of this gaming trash that I've got in the background here. But yeah,
collect your mental health trauma.
What would you say? What's the coolest thing that you've got in your collection?
It's tough to say. I mean, I think this skull, it's not even that ridiculous, but like this deer skull, is one of the most symmetrical skulls I've ever found of like any specimen. Like other than this like little branch that comes off of here, like right there on that. I don't know if you can actually see. There we go. But yeah, this I've never been able to find another skull this symmetrical before.
That's awesome.
So I don't know. That's I think my most prized one, even if it's not the most expensive.
That's super cool.
I'm just gonna say this is awful for the audio listeners of the podcast. But there's some really cool stuff. You should definitely check these out. Yeah. In terms of what we covered oddities, what else do you like doing outside of streaming? First of all,
I think making music is something I've really started to get into. I want to create like these. It's like a combination of audio and video. So like make some music that goes along with like spoken word poetry or just like a nice positive message and some nice visuals with it. Just because I feel like right now more than ever, people need to be like lifted up and celebrated and to, just be told that like you belong and everything is okay. And, there are people just like you in the world that, are going through similar things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. I know you do a lot of. You're a dev or programmer. Is that correct? Yeah. How did you get into that?
So PC gaming. Like I wanted to modify all the games I was playing, and so I learned how to edit MIDI files. Not MIDI files. What are they called? INI files, INI files. For a lot of the games I played, so that I could like. One of them was like a dinosaur hunting game, and I made the dinosaurs like 10 million times bigger, and like the weapons would like kill them instantly. And then once I learned how to do that, I kind of wanted to learn more about how I can make my computer do other things.
Nice.
And and from there it just took off. I got more into IT for a while, but eventually having an IT job, you want to automate everything you do so you can play games at work. And I learned how to do that, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
That's awesome. I know
you were one of the developers. Go ahead, Mia.
You go ahead. You go ahead. I think we're about to go into the same thing. So
I only get a little bit of the script, Mia. It's fine. Go ahead.
After you.
So, you were one of the developers on Peer-to-Peer. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it came about?
Yeah. So Peer-to-Peer is a discovery platform that was created by me, Ferociously Steph, Irene the Doll, and a bunch of other people. And it kind of came to be because Twitch didn't have identity tags at the time. You couldn't find trans people. You couldn't find other Black people. You couldn't find disabled people who, had similar disabilities to you. All you could really search for was like first person shooter. And it's just like, the real reason people come to Twitch isn't just to watch people play games. It's to find people like them playing the games that they like, because it's about finding community and finding that connection and that relationship. So we kind of set out to build a place where people could go and add tags to an account that linked back out to their Twitch page. And also so we could showcase people while they were live too. And that's kind of like the short story of how Peer-to-Peer came together.
Nice. Do you think there's more that Twitch can do for marginalized streamers?
Yeah, actually, just to interject there real quick, because like for a while there, Twitch did have this sort of stance where they were kind of pushing back on the idea of, identity as content, which is so weird, just in general. And I'm so glad that it's changed now.
In all of the conversations that I've had, it has been very, very apparent that the folks at Twitch don't feel as though content that supports or talks about or involves trans people is trans content. But I argue that being a trans streamer at all constitutes trans content, because trans people are going to want to watch people who are trans. It's just like it's a really fundamental part of having a marginalized community, of any marginalized community. And being able to like find each other is so vital to to our survival on the internet. So
and to piggyback off of that, to piggyback off what you're saying too, like when I first came to Twitch, I was like, it was before I even came out. I was just this like confused person who wanted to watch Overwatch, and I found Annie. who was a really great Overwatch player at the time. And I will never be that good ever. I've tried. Trust me. I know, right? No one will ever be as good as Annie. Bless her soul. But I found her channel, and it was through watching the other people that like she interacted with. I was able to find other creators on the platform that resonated with me and helped me kind of learn more about myself. And if Twitch had a trans tag at the time, I could have more easily found other people to relate to. And it was just, I had to rely on Twitter. I had to go on Twitter and literally like search trans Twitch and just hopefully someone would have posted like, I'm a trans Twitch streamer, and it would have worked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't used to be like that. I mean, we had communities. Back in the day, like
we had user-generated tags basically in communities, and then we got 3 user-generated tags we could use for our streams, and then they took those away. Transmission Gaming had like a whole roster of trans streamers on Twitch that we tried to like have a surrogate trans tag, just like if you're trans, here we go, have a roster. But it's just such a long, drawn-out, arduous process to get them. We finally have them now. I hope that the next iteration of, whenever Twitch decides to deprecate tags, I hope we don't have to have this whole fight all over again,
Yeah. So going back to that question that Nikatine did ask, do you think at this point Twitch can do more?
There's always more you can do. I feel like with Black History Month, there was a really good example of how to not execute your displaying of the demographic of people who deserve to be lifted up and showcased. I think that do
you want to roughly explain what happened there?
Yeah, so on Twitch, there is the main carousel, which is the front page carousel. And then below that are what are called shelves, at least from my understanding, like from reading conversation with some Twitch stuff. And so those shelves can display different things. And there's different triggers which display on that shelf, like different groups of people. And like one of them was supposed to be for Black History Month. But the problem was, first, they didn't really communicate well enough, like how it was supposed to work. So people were confused about, what the shelf is. They thought, okay, I'm going to be in the carousel, which is generally what happens when you're on the front page. Instead, they were put on a shelf that was pushed all the way below what is known as the fold, which is like the visible area of a website when you first land on it. So already there's a problem in that like you can't see the people for the month that's supposed to be celebrating them. And on top of that, some white folks somehow ended up in the Black History Month panels.
I saw that. That was insane. How do you do that? How do you let that happen?
When that wasn't happening, I think it was supposed to display like 10 as like the limit it shows at a time. There were times when it wasn't even showing all 10 of the people for Black History Month at a time. Even though I think they said they had like 1,200 or 2,000 people participating. There's just no way that like you couldn't have had enough overlap.
And apparently at this point, according to chat, that you still have to scroll down in order to see it at this point, which is very disheartening, because like you think if you have a month where you're celebrating the content of, a certain marginalized group, you want to put that content front and center. If you say that you actually want to be there championing diversity, you want to be there championing marginalized communities, you would actually say, hey, here's that content, go to that content. But like I find a lot of what Twitch does more recently is trying to funnel viewers to the highest creators on the platform. I mean, you see that in a lot of different experiments they've been doing as well, in terms of like when you finish a clip, it suggests for you to go to, I don't know, XQC or somebody like that. People that don't necessarily need any kind of like help whatsoever. Who are constantly being promoted. So you would think when it comes to a month where you're literally saying, listen, this is what we're going to do this month, that they would be more willing to, put them forward.
Yeah, it's like having a redesigned front page. I know it's probably a lot of work on their end, but it's worth it. Like, and I know that they have obligations because they have people that are on the front page because they work with like big companies like Logitech. And so they have to have those spots. Like there's money for the platform that goes in, and I get that. But that doesn't mean that you can't design it in such a way that you can centralize and focus the people for Black History Month or Pride or whatever month it is. Disability Month also needs to be something. I don't know why we don't have that. But the point is like they need to be more thoughtful in how they present and approach other identities other than like the top 100 all white, all dude like streamers. because it benefits their platform. It will absolutely benefit it because they're only dipping into such a tiny segment that if they just broaden that and actually took the risk, it would pay off tenfold without a doubt.
I'm not going to assume that I know, like Twitch's motivations, but I can definitely feel there might be like a fear. I don't even want to use the term devil's advocate or anything like that, but the only way I can like wrap my head around it is that they fear that they will lose some kind of like market share or something like that. But the onus is on them to change the culture of the platform, which for the longest time has come across as very gamer focused, which is what the site was founded on. But along with that comes a very real gamer culture as well, which has broadly been isolated to guys, well, I don't want to specifically say bros, but like very toxic individuals. We're talking like the Xbox Live. Well, I'm not sure what it's like now, but the classic Xbox Live trope of people like screaming racism and homophobia, and like because the site was exactly because the site was founded on that sort of stuff. It's very hard to get away from that, and I really do feel that they can definitely do more and should be doing more. And there's so many instances where they can literally, they almost get it right, but they're so close. They just need to do that little bit extra.
From what I have gathered from a lot of sources, and it just seems like there's a huge rift between like the business side of Twitch and the people who do care. Like there are a lot of Twitch staff.
There are definitely people who care. I've
really,
spoken to them.
really freaking care and fight hard. Yeah. And I feel like it's just, we need to get them in the same room together with creators and users of the site and really like drill home the point that like this Twitch isn't just gaming. And in fact, it isn't gaming at all. Gaming is second to, people using this as a site to find other like-minded people that they relate to. Yeah, even like the cis gamer bros, like they're going to find people they relate to that have that same energy and that same drive and enthusiasm for the things they like.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm yelling at my mic.
That's okay. It's, like I said, it's that's exactly what peer-to-peer was all about. It's personality first, right? So it's people first, and that's the way Twitch should be. Nobody's watching like a just chatting streamer for their gaming skills or a musician for their gaming skills. The site has changed, so should evolve along with that.
Exactly.
Definitely. Speaking of changes and making changes to the platform, the Day Off Twitch movement, can you talk about it? I know you were involved with that. Can you talk about how that started and your involvement in it?
So a Day Off Twitch was essentially a response towards a huge occurrence that happened after the tags were released. There was a massive influx of something called hate raiding, which is where people send thousands of fake accounts into a user's channel, typically almost always a marginalized creator's channel, to spam either racist, transphobic, or ableist remarks at them. And it's meant to just overwhelm and exhaust people. And then you have to clean up like tens of thousands of follows from bots with equally horrible usernames that somehow got past the system that won't let me type in bimbo. Go figure, right? It still won't let me type in that, but anything else, the T-slur, like go for it, you're fine. At least at the time that was the case. So what we did was Wreck-It Raven, Shiny Pin, and I kind of got together and talked about this idea. And I was actually kind of the last person that was brought in that kind of helped with like the organization and the planning behind like the execution. But we came up with the Day Off Twitch is kind of like a response to this. Like, hey, this is a big problem. And if you don't take care of it, we're going to start taking more and more drastic actions, starting with taking a day off of Twitch to hit you. And like, it's arguable whether financially it really made that big of an impact. It was noticeable. And that's all that mattered. At the end of the day, it was noticed the day of and the month before and after. And it still gets talked about. Like people still engage with that like original tweet. I still get reporters hitting me up about it. But I guess the general gist was just combating the hate on the platform that just seemed like it was never ending and never dealt with. It's about creator safety, viewer safety, just the safety of everyone who uses the platform.
I do remember seeing an article after the day off Twitch happened, and there was a substantial drop because it was getting coverage. There's a substantial drop of viewership on that day. A lot of people on the run up to it that were highly critical of the movement. They were saying stuff like, "Yeah, it's not going to do anything. Twitch won't care about this. It's not even going to make an impact on their money." And when that wasn't necessarily the point, the media coverage that it got was literally the driving point to that, to actually. Again, raise awareness. That's all you need to do, right? It's like shout about these things.
I mean, the only thing that does nothing is doing nothing.
Yes,
if you just sat there,
if you decided to denounce it instead, like some creators did, and just scream, I'll do it if like other people do it. They could have been, that a big streamer, and I won't name names, but we talked about them before. They could have been, the first person to say, I'm supporting this. I get like thousands of viewers regularly. I get tens of thousands of viewers regularly. Like if somebody like that taking a stand and saying, listen, I support this. And like some did, many did. I saw, which was very heartening to see. That could have made the change, but instead there are people pushing back against it, which was mind-boggling to me to see that happen.
Yeah, and like no one except for me, Shiny, and Raven, really, no one else can really understand the amount of like stress and the horror and really everything else that was happening behind the scenes. Like everything that you did see was like a sliver of the entire rest of the iceberg, all the way down to the bottom abyss of what was actually happening behind the scenes. Like it was so stressful, and like it was tough. It was a very tough organized operation. But it seemed to get the point across, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
I'm glad it made that change, and that they eventually brought in those changes, and at least now there's like mobile verification for people to even like chat. I believe there's mobile verification now,
and there's lots of verification now. You can do you can set it up to be like email verification, or you have to have a phone number attached, or you have to have had an account for such and such an amount of time. Like it's actually much better.
It's an amazing thing, because now that the streamer gets to choose what level of protection they want on their channel, and and it can be a detriment, in terms of like blocking viewers from getting in. But if you go for a period where you're getting hate rated, you just switch that on, you're good. You're good to go for a while. So yeah.
And I'll say too, the one last thing I will add too is, I think more importantly than just or maybe equally as important as like the safety features, is just the fact that it showed people you have a voice and your voice is powerful, and together we can really stand together strongly and get the things that we need just to get through the day and survive, and hopefully even thrive as marginalized creators.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Congratulations on your recent nomination to Rising Star in the Gaming Awards. Sorry, I'm reading a script. How does it feel to be nominated to be a Rising Star in the Gaming Awards? Question mark.
I think it's like, wow, I'm not going to lie. I'm actually really shocked, because I really just see myself as a very loud, deep voiced woman on the internet. But it's also an honor, because all of the people who are nominated equally deserve it, because they're all fantastic people, all contributing in their own different and unique ways to make the platform and the community around the platform a way better place.
Awesome. Definitely. I will say, we are still, I don't even know if I want to say we're still technically in a pandemic. That hasn't changed. How have you been faring with that whole thing? Did that change things for you much in terms of like getting out there and whatnot?
So I'm trans. Go
yeah.
Great. Wow.
I mean, yeah, for trans people like us, it didn't necessarily change that much. Yeah.
So I think there's like aspects.
Don't know them.
It's weird, because there's like the very real reality of the pandemic, that people are dying. Especially for like my friends with disabilities who are compromised. It's terrifying. It's still terrifying. In fact, it's even more terrifying because people are pretending it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's also the aspect of like, okay, well, I can wear a mask. So like the days I have to, boy mode, whatever you want to call it. Like I don't feel like shaving or whatever and throwing on makeup. I can go out about in the world better, and kind of carry about my day a little more easily. But then the other side is I feel like it's kind of like hindered parts of my transition too, just because I haven't been able to get laser treatments as frequently as I'd wanted to, or really connect with people of my community in person, like other trans people in person.
Oh God, I've wanted to go to a con for the longest time. I miss that so much. I'm really hoping that like TwitchCon goes off without
San Francisco Pride is going to happen this year, and I've been like really debating about whether or not to go.
Exactly. Like I've made so many friends on Twitch that I've wanted to meet to like thank them for helping me like come to terms with who I am and becoming Lucia. And it's like I want to physically like hug them consensually if they want the hug. If they don't, then I'll give them an elbow or a high five or something. And it's just that I think is the hardest part. But it also just shows too, going back to the whole thing with Twitch, like that's why this platform is so important, because we can have conversations like this and find that representation.
I will say, like, leading on from that, did you have any plans for the future, specifically whether or not it was like on Twitch or offline, going to events or anything like that, when things eventually go back to normal, quote unquote?
I have been writing a book called Manifesting Euphoria, which is a set of rituals for trans and gender nonconforming people to kind of reclaim their bodies and kind of celebrate who they are, and kind of to protect them, and just, I mean, it's a book about witchcraft specifically for people like me. And so my goal is that after I write this and publish it, hopefully, self-publish it, however I do it, whether maybe it'll just be a free PDF, I don't really care, is to go around and actually like meet up with people and perform like rituals like unbaptisms and things like that. Like when someone finally wants to, claim their gender identity, like burning a couple pieces of clothing and like things that kind of relate to their previous identity to kind of help them like settle into their new identity, because rituals are really important. There's even science that backs how powerful they are for humans. And so I don't know, and they're just fun. Like who doesn't like fire, like burning things, and it's just so validating to do it in that way.
How else are we going to become clean and pure?
I didn't realize we would be confirming Lucia as a pyromaniac now.
Yes. Add that to my long list of things.
That sounds awesome. Like you're writing a book. Not many people, can do that. Like I've wanted to write for the longest time, and I just do not have it in me. Like with my ADHD-ness, like I can't concentrate long enough to even get it out. So I'm like, that's awesome.
I keep my ADHD-ness hidden away too. tucked away.
I mean, with my ADHD, believe me, it's hard. It's like I have my outline, I have all the rituals in place, like the ideas behind them. It's just like the hard part is really putting the words to it, because like these are important. Like these things, like I am treating them like sacred, because they're a ritual someone will use if they've been like misgendered and had a bad day, to like absolve themselves of like that pain and just all the emotions that come with that, to hopefully like feel better afterwards. And so like I want to get it right, and it's just like it's tough, but it's important.
Do you know about the Stephen King method?
No, I don't.
Take that as a no. Other than taking a shitload of drugs, this is a different method. Apparently, like Stephen King, I heard this recently. Like he will get everything just down on paper. It doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter like if it makes sense. Which maybe if you've read some of his novels, and you could see that in there. But then he will put it away. He will put it away, that finished thing, no matter what state it is in, for about 6 months. And then open that drawer back again, go back to it, and then fix everything.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, and that seems like the best approach, because like for me, in terms of writing, like I have so much trouble just getting the words down on paper without being like hyper fixated on, no, it needs to be perfect first time. It needs to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it's not worth doing, So yeah, that's definitely an idea. It's definitely an idea. Yeah. I get to bring back a segment now that I'm really happy that I get to bring back, which is called Quick Fire Questions, which we used to always finish with, but then it went away for a little bit during DigiPride, but now I get to bring it back. So, Quick Fire Questions. What this is, we're just going to ask you some quick fire questions, and you are going to answer off the top of your head, whatever comes to mind first. That is your answer. So,
what's been your favorite game this year?
God, No Man's Sky.
Awesome. What was the one game that defined your childhood?
Chrono Trigger.
Who's your favorite video game character?
Oh God, I whichever one I create with a goofy name.
Okay. Yeah, Goofy from Kingdom Hearts, apparently.
No, not that one.
Go on, which one? Who's your favorite video game character? Then?
God, I can't even just pick one. Like whenever I make a character, like yeah.
God, too many. God damn. What game do you most want a sequel to?
God, this is tough. These are the real questions. These are rapid fire questions.
I know, right? Yeah.
I want another StarCraft.
Another StarCraft, right?
Who would be your dream stream guest?
Oh my God.
Anybody in the world, alive or dead? Who would you want on?
Baphomet. Do they have to be real? It'd be Baphomet.
Well, I meant non-fictional, but
yeah, that's perfect. We'll get Baphomet on the horn.
Singer from CU Space Cowboy. There you go.
Cowboy. Awesome. What game are you most looking forward to coming out this year?
Honestly, Elden Ring looks really cool.
It does look really cool. That looks awesome.
If you were marooned on an island, what 3 games would you want to have with you?
Solitaire, Spider Solitaire, and Barnyard Solitaire.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Because I like variety in my gaming.
Fantastic. Which game has the best soundtrack?
Solitaire.
Oh God, this is tough.
Can't say Solitaire.
I can't say Solitaire, but the sound when the cards get shuffled is so good. I don't even think I know of like a game soundtrack. I mean, I guess the intro to Final Fantasies are always really good. It's that little arpeggio. An Aerith song is really good too, like the Aerith theme.
I will say on this next question, you're free to take as much time as you want.
Thank you.
That's your cue, Nikatine.
What are the things you like most about me?
No. Okay.
Where can people find your content, and what have you got coming up on your channel? Sorry.
So you can find me at twitch.tv/Lucia Everblack. And I have a lot of stuff coming up. Like I am doing more music creative streams. I'm actually planning some like rituals to perform live. Nothing like human sacrifices because TOS. Bummer. And then just like,
got it.
I'm always talking about important social issues and just like being really weird. Like half the time I say I plan it, but I have I like an agenda, the trans agenda, and then I just never do this. I never do the things I write down. It just always goes into pure chaos because of ADHD. And honestly, my community, like they are chaos. Like I know everyone says they're chaos, but like literally I will be talking about something important and then someone will come in and talk about Mountain Dew Livewire and whether it's orange soda or not. And then we get into the nuance of orange sodas and it's,
derailment consistently.
Derailed. The answer is yes.
Amazing.
It is orange soda, by the way.
It is? Okay.
And that's over at twitch.tv/
Lucia Everblack.
Hell yeah. And Nikatine.
Can you spell it? Sorry, can you spell it really quick? Because we have like people listening.
Yes, it's Twitch, TWITCH period TV /LUCIAEVERBLACK.
Awesome.
Fantastic. And Nikatine, what have you got coming up on your channel as the super special guest host?
Finally, it's about me!
Oh, God. Okay.
I do a lot of roleplay on my channel. That's twitch.tv/Nikatine, NIKATINE. I'm setting up a huge roleplay server with a bunch of really fun content creators for Grand Theft Auto. So we're going to be having, in the next coming months, PRP, Purple Roleplay. And if you guys are interested in GTA roleplay, it's going to be so much fun and completely and utterly unique and nothing like anything you've seen before. I'm so incredibly excited for it. I also do a lot of movie reviews and viewings and all kinds of fun stuff over at twitch.tv/Nikatine. You can find me on Twitter at Nikatine Prime, where you sometimes post pictures of myself.
Those links are also in the chat on stream, or you can find them down in the description of the YouTube version of this show. For myself, well, I know that that over on twitch.tv/meabyte, there is going to be a big subathon happening this Friday coming, because it will be my birthday. Celebration of my birthday. I'm gonna be so old, but that's happening there. So make sure you go on across and check that out. But yeah, thank you both.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Lucia.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
It's amazing. It was an amazing show. I enjoyed having you here immensely. I hope you enjoyed it yourself.
I really enjoyed it. This is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But that's not all, is it, Mia? ? You have a new Let's Go Gaming show! !
That is right. Every week, you can find me personally live on the gaming channel here. So make sure you hit that follow button. In our brand new show, Let's Go Gaming, you'll be able to join myself and two super special guests as we play all manner of video games. Our next episode is actually going to be this Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time. I'm going to be facing off in Mario Kart 8 with the lovely Biggest Bennis and a former Gaming Mag alumni, Ed Nightingale. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun, so sure to tune in and join us live right here on twitch.tv/gaming mag. Do not miss out. Do not miss out.
You can follow Gaming Mag channel here on Twitch or subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these amazing shows. And of course, podcasts can be listened back at any time on all major podcasting platforms. And if you're listening out there right now, come on down to Twitch and watch us live. Just head over to twitch.tv/gamingmag. That's GAYMINGMAG.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Gaming Podcast Live. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with the next episode. We do have some confirmed guests. We're going to be having the lovely Jeff Brutlag as our super special guest host. And I cannot remember for the life of me who the other guest is, but that will be in tweets. In fact, actually, I can find out right now. The other super special guest is another one of our rising stars. It is, because it's all going to be rising stars coming up on the 6th. It's me, Holly, is going to be our next rising star on the podcast. So make sure you tune in then. But in the meantime, don't forget to keep reading Gaming Magazine. And we'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Bye, everybody. Bye.